Hi, you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. Woo!
Now to give you some insight into Andre's preparation and mentality heading into the fight is his legendary trainer, Mr. Virgil Hunter.
Thanks again for everybody showing up and turning out for this great event. An event of this magnitude is deserving of the fans and pay-per-view. I hope the press really puts it out there, supports the fight, hypes the fight. It's a great fight between two champions. I'm glad to be part of it. See everybody in Vegas.
Thank you, Virgil. Now the moment we've been waiting for. He is the last men's U.S. Olympic boxer to win gold, having done so at the 2004 Athens Olympic Games. His list of victories reads like a who's who of the super middleweight division, including Carl Froch, Mikkel Kessler, and Arthur Abraham, all of whom he defeated en route to winning the Super Six. He also dominated and knocked out former light heavyweight world champion Chad Dawson in their 2012 showdown. In his last fight, he dominated Alexander Brand at the Oracle Arena in his hometown in Oakland. He is the pride of Oakland, California. He is a family man and a true athlete role model to all. It is my pleasure to introduce the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, the face of the light heavyweight division and an athlete Rock Nation Sports is so proud to represent. With a record of 30-0 with 15 KOs, a man who hasn't lost a fight since the age of 13. It is my pleasure to welcome and to introduce Andre Ward.
Kathy, I showed up. I made it. I made it. Thankful to be here today. I want to thank everybody that's associated with this event, the media, the good, the bad press, all of it. Obviously HBO, Peter Nelson, Rock Nation, Main Events, everybody that's associated with it. It's hard to name everybody individually, but you know, it's a lot of people that you guys know of that worked on this fight to get it done, and it's a lot of people that you might not be familiar with, or you may be familiar with but didn't know was working behind the scenes to get this fight done. It's a lot of different nuances that go into place to get a fight like this done, but it's done, and I think that's what, you know, we all should focus on. I thank God for this opportunity. I thank God for, you know, my career and being able to be at a high level through the peaks and valleys of my career as long as I have. Sometimes that gets overlooked. You know, I'm a young veteran in the game. I've paid my dues and I continue to pay my dues. And this is just another opportunity. You know, I've been in these positions before. So is my opponent. And it doesn't matter what the other side says, how they feel, what they say. He's got to get it done. I've got to get it done. And it's going to determine when those lights come on, who executes and who gets it done when those bright lights come on. And that's what it boils down to, and that's what I focus on. I don't have to throw chairs. I don't have to cuss. I don't have to act crazy to sell this fight. This fight is selling itself. And I know that what I possess and what I have is in me. It's not on me. I appreciate you. I'll see you November 19th.
Thank you, Andre. I am so happy to see you. And by the way, I just before I introduce Sergey's manager, I just had one comment for Mr. Prince. You know he can't bring his slingshot in the ring with him, right? And I'm not sure how I feel about the David and Goliath thing because it is kind of a pick 'em fight, but can't bring the slingshot. And now, you know, we have a lot of bests here. We have the best fight that can be made in boxing. We have two of the best fighters in the world. We have clearly the two best fighters in their division, and now I get to introduce the best manager in boxing, Agus Klimas.
Thank you, Kathy. Good afternoon, everybody. Very proud to represent one of the best fighters in the world, Sergey Kovalev. We've been very long road with him since 2009 when he came here to the United States, and he never was pushed by any media. He never was missed match. He never was, I don't even know how to say, but protected, I would say. Like nowadays, many fighters are protected. Many probably in this room knows how we used to go sit in a van and go from the East Coast, from town to town just to get a fight. He never asked me in his career who his opponent is. He just asked when I'm fighting and what weight it should be. Again, I'm very proud to represent Sergey Kovalev, and I wanted to thank Andre Ward's team, Rock Nation, for taking this opportunity and putting the best fight, I don't know, is that say in a year or is going to be maybe in a decade. As been talked earlier, it's going to be like 50-50 right now, and Peter Nelson mentioned it's who knows how it's going to end up a fight. This is a liar. But I want to thank our promoter, Kathy Duva. She did a very, very good job in Sergey's career. I want to thank HBO, T-Mobile Arena, MGM, everybody who was involved in this fight to make this fight happen. And I'm a little nervous, a little excited. I've never been before that, but I'm looking forward for November 19th and hope to see you guys in Vegas, November 19th. Thank you.
And it is now my pleasure to introduce the best trainer in boxing, John David Jackson.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming out and participating in this press conference. It's good to see some old friends here in New York City once again. This fight here is it's a fight that the fans deserve to see. You know, Andre Ward was a very good fighter, undefeated as an amateur and a pro. Just to be undefeated as an amateur is one hell of an accomplishment, trust me, with the bad decisions in boxing. So that alone speaks volumes for him. Then he's undefeated as a pro, very good pro. On the other side, you have Sergey Kovalev. He's a crusher. He destroys. He seeks and destroys. So come November 19th, I expect a great fight between two very good fighters. And the winner deserves to be pound for pound the best fighter in the world. Whether you watch it on pay-per-view or you go to a bar or whatever, just watch this fight. You know, all the talk and all the other things, all that's done. Now it's time for preparation, and it's time to go to war. And that's what we're here for, to go to war. And come the 19th of November, that's what you're going to see. Two very good fighters striving to be the best and to be, I guess, number one pound for pound in the world. And we'll see what happens. So just, you know, be there, buy the fight or show up. Either way, expect one great fight between two very, very good fighters. Thank you.
Since the day I met this quiet, unassuming Russian fighter a little over 4 years ago, all he's ever asked me to do is take him from one test to the next, take me from one challenge to the next, help me climb the ladder. He's done everything I've asked, and he's kicked everyone's ass on the way up. So, as always, it is my absolutely rapturous pleasure to be able to introduce to you the WBA, IBF, WBO light heavyweight champion in the world, the person who I believe is going to prove to you in November that he is the best fighter in the world, and I know he is going to do everything in his power to do that. And so I it is my great pleasure to introduce Sergey Crusher Kovalev.
Hello, everybody. I'm very glad to be here, and I'm very excited for this opportunity to fight underwater. And I want to thank to God for this moment and in my career. Also, I want to thank all people who involved for this fight. To my promoter, Katie Duva, and Rock Nation, to HBO pay-per-view, and to all my fans. Thank you for everything. And November 19th, it will be a fight which we remember as a history, and we should be ready, both of us, to give the boxing fans a great fight. And I don't know what to say more, like just welcome to Las Vegas and on HBO pay-per-view, and we'll see a great fight. Thank you very much.
As you can imagine, it is not easy to make a fight like this, but here we are. I'm sure I speak for our friends at Rock Nation when I say that everyone who has been involved in this process deserves our thanks and appreciation. You all know who you are. Speaking for main events, I especially want to thank Peter Nelson, Tony Walker, Jonathan Galst, and Ray Stallone from HBO and their capable staff, Richard Stern from the MGM Grand Resort and Casino and his staff, our sponsors, Corona and Rosneft, and these two great competitors who have endeavored to find out exactly who is the very best in the world for all of us to watch. I want to thank you for coming today. I hope to see you on November 19th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. If not, we'll be on pay-per-view, $54.95. And now we are going to open up Ellen tells me we're going to open up the room to questions. Let's do that. And Ellen, you're in charge.
You want this one?
Perfect, thank you.
Actually, this might be more, hi, Lloyd Carroll from the Queens Chronicle. This is more of a business question about your industry. There is a certain currency in being undefeated. I mean, certainly Mr. Mayweather understood that and maximized his value on that. Is that a concern, a loss of that currency for one of the fighters here? Maybe, was there some thought of following the Mayweather pattern of let's maximize revenue until we can't do it any longer? I'm just saying businessman. I got all extra boxers, but I wanted to talk to the business people behind them.
I can give you the business answer.
Sure.
The business answer is that I believe that win at any cost model has done a lot of damage to our business in general since someone took that as his guiding principle. So I like to think that I'm old. I come from the time when Leonard and Hearns and Hagler and Duran and Holyfield and Bo and I sound so old here, Tyson fought each other. They actually got in the ring and fought each other, and boxing was a lot more exciting then. So no, I don't think records matter nearly as much as great fights.
Brandon Dietrich, TrueBoxingHeads.com. This is for Team Ward and Rock Nation in general. Do you think this fight will motivate Rock Nation in general for Ward and take your promotional team to the top? Because the last time Rock Nation had a big fight, it was Cotto Canelo, and Cotto couldn't get the victory. Do you think this fight will take Rock Nation over the top?
I think we're at the top right now. Last year we did Cotto Canelo. Arguably, this is even a bigger fight on the same weekend before Thanksgiving. Obviously, we're very excited, to be involved with main events. It's a big moment for Rock Nation. It without a doubt, is a springboard to other opportunities. But in a very short 2 years, our company has arrived. I mean, we got into this business to do big fights. We've proven that we can do big fights. You know, like Kathy said, you know, we want to make the biggest fights in the world, regardless of whether somebody is undefeated or not. And we're going to continue to do that.
Anybody else?
Hi, fellas. Lee Steno, Lloyd's Black Star News. Perhaps both of you. There was a lot of criticism because you guys didn't score knockouts in your last fights. You know, fans are very hungry. Was that purposeful to go the distance and get yourself in condition for this mega fight, and hold your knockout power in your reserve for this fight, because this is the big one?
I mean, I think, you know, I think it's important for everybody in the room, you know, to educate the boxing fans, general fans, casual fans on how the sport works. You know, this is not a video game. You know, this is real life. And of course, you would love to go in there and, you know, get a first round knockout every time and you know, have a spectacular performance every single time. And again, like, treat it like it's a video game, but it's real life. You know, you do what you got to do, you do the best you can, and sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. And I think, you know, sometimes there's too much stock put in the knockouts. Of course, they're great, you know, especially for, you know, the casual fan. But personally, you know, I did the best I could against a 40-year-old veteran who didn't want to be knocked out, made it difficult, moved, held, did certain things. So I'm pleased I got the rounds. I wasn't trying to hold back, and but I don't think that's going to have any bearings on this fight at all.
I have a question for. Whoop. Here we go.
You know, like my last fight was against Chilemba, and Chilemba, good fighter, and it was not a plan to knock him out, you know, like, and because his style like similar of underworld, and also I think so that I fought good, and I will bring all my power on November 19 and to get victory by KO or score decision. You know, it will be depends how I will be feel and what will be my shape after my preparation.
I have a question for both Sergey and Andre. Sergey, did you see Andre's last fight, and what did you think? And Andre, did you watch Sergey's last fight, and what did you think, Sergey?
Yes, I saw his last fight, and he showed that he can boxing on the distance and a close fight, and also that he's feeling very. He feels very comfortable in light heavyweight division, you know, and he's ready for November 19. And November 19, he will be much better or on the same level, you know. We'll see in November. Like, I'm interested too, you know.
No, I haven't had a chance to watch his fight yet. I didn't watch it because he wasn't, you know, my upcoming opponent. But obviously, you know, as camp starts, you know, I have plenty of time to sit down and do the homework. And of course, you know, my team, my coach, he's done his job. You know, he's always watching. But, you know, it didn't make any sense to watch that fight leading up to my fight. That's a good way to get sidetracked.
Hi, my question is for both men. Obviously, with this fight being for all the marbles, and the perception for Kovalev in the division is that he is the dominant fighter in that division, that Adonis won't fight him. What would possibly be next for either man after winning this particular fight? Do Ward, in your instance, do you stay the way you did at 168 and just dominate the division? And for Sergey, is there a possible move up in the future, or what does either man do after this, being as though, like, you know, where do you go?
We'll speak after the fight. I don't know what what is next. Let's to do this job.
Yeah, that's putting the cart before the horse. I don't, you can't think like that, No disrespect, but that's why you're good at your job, and that's why I'm good at mine, because you think ahead, and I can't afford to do that. So, yeah, we'll talk after the fight. Good question.
Anyone else?
This question's for Sergey and Team Kovalev. Is the game plan for this fight going to be similar to the Hopkins fight, where you try to box and understand that Andre Ward's a guy who doesn't get abused in the ring, has great defense, timing, and balance, and just try to outpoint him? Is the knockout going to almost not even be on your mind unless it happens?
I already told about any plans for the fight. I don't have any plans for my fights, just get into the ring and make a fight. For me, any boxing fight, like a street fight, just with the rules of boxing,
Antonio Baez, DC Mike TV. The question is for Andre Ward. What does a victory against Sergey Kovalev, do you feel like it cements your Hall of Fame future?
I mean, it doesn't hurt, that's for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, I know what I've accomplished, and I feel like I have I've done, put together a good body of work. But like I told the guys earlier, when I talked to the media, I don't have a vote, so it's tough to say where I stand right now. But in my mind, this is a must-win, and I think, with a victory here and becoming two-division champion and beating a guy with the quality of Sergey, it kind of leaves everybody without an excuse. I feel like it does cement, my status. But yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, pass it down.
I got three quick ones. Ladies first. Kathy, another great job here, First Lady of Boxing. Were there reservations in making this fight? You said you were kind of, glad to see Andre show up. Were there some reservations, some problems?
We had no reservations whatsoever. We're thrilled to make the fight, and Andre and I were just joking around.
Yeah. Andre, the timing seems to be perfect here for you. You had some issues before, but now I feel that the timing is perfect. Everything is right. You're ready to go again. There were some things before that stalled your career, but Andre Ward is ready to rock and roll.
You said, am I ready to rock and roll?
No, I said you had some issues before. There were things, but I figured the timing right now is perfect for you. You can kind of go straight ahead again in boxing.
Yeah, I mean, of course. Sometimes those things are necessary. Sometimes those things are necessary. I don't know too many professional careers that were sustained for a significant amount of time that didn't have peaks and valleys, and sometimes those valleys are necessary. So I'm right on time, I believe, when it comes to my destiny and my purpose and where I'm supposed to be. So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, amen. Champ, you had a new baby. How much has that changed your life inside and outside of the ring? And congratulations on that. Yeah, I mean, being a father, how has that changed his mind and perspective on things?
With the born of my son, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's a huge kick to my ass, to do my job much better than I did before. And I'm happy, and I wanna make for him sister or brother, we'll see. God bless us. But
Thanks, man.
yeah, I'm very happy. I love my son, and I wish to him best of all of the best.
Andre Ward, in your last fight, you picked an awkward kind of a fighter. What made your camp choose that guy?
We didn't have a choice. Trust me. We had a list of guys that we had a list of guys, and they started to fall off one after another for one reason or the next. And, you know, we looked up and we were 8 weeks out, and, you know, we got to a point on the list where Brand's name was called. So I knew he was going to be, you know, an awkward guy who, you know, he's got nothing to lose. You know, he's trying to upset the apple cart. He's just an unpredictable fighter. I mean, you guys saw it, but, you know, a champion and a guy who fights at an elite level, you got to be able to beat every style. That's not an excuse. You know, you have to be able to deal with everything. So that was my mindset going in. Once you know, Brand's name was called, and we took care of business.
And Sergey, you had a tough opponent, similar style to Andre Ward in some ways. Was it very awkward for you, and did you take from that?
Yeah, Chilemba was one of tough opponents, yes, but I got a winner over him, and I'm ready for my next test. The fight under Ward, this is a big test for me for my next step in my boxing career, you know, and it motivates me.
Okay, we're done. We're going to do a photo.
We're going to Photoshop people. Sergey, you're going to come around this way. Andre, you're going to go around the other way. We're going to meet in the middle.
I think they're going to move the podium. Okay.
Are you going to do there?
Oh, bazooka! How are you?
Champ.
All right.
Congratulations to Jake. Last time I see you.
Hey, photographers down in front, please.
Everybody sit, please. Please sit. 2 seconds, please. Thank you.
Okay, Alan. Face forward. Okay, guys.
Leave us
face
for the ring.
forward. Okay, guys, please break. Face forward. Break. Come on. Okay, thank you.
Take a step up. Take a step up.
One more step up.
Where's Kwan? Come with you today? Kill.
There you go.
There you go. Right here. There you go. Hand down, hand down.
Don't break that bucket. Watch me.